Call the meeting to order and stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to just remind everybody that we're on Zoom, so if we could take turns talking and let me know if you have anything to say. We have employee time next, but we'll move that along. And then we do have on the agenda reorganization of the board. It was in question whether we needed a second or not, but Ernie, if you wanna find out.
I'm under Robert's Rule of Order, and when nominations come from the floor, you can second them, but you don't have to. So I think we've pretty much got it covered. It's pretty much right in the language there. So, yeah, we could have seconded them if we wanted, but we really don't have to. So.
Okay, well, we'll move on then with the consent agenda. And we have the December 5th regular meeting minutes and the monthly bills. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, is there any discussion or questions on the minutes or the monthly bills? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Okay, now we'll go to employee time.
Aren't you gonna have additions to the agenda?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Additions to the agenda. I don't have that on here, so.
I'd like
Thank
to
you.
update on the jail meeting we had with Elevatus.
Okay, hold on here. Okay, for Danny, Amy, do you have?
I guess I just wanted to clarify, I'm assuming we all got this in this lead,
Yeah,
to be sure that there's coverage there. It's the weed, forum.
yeah.
Chris, I don't have anything. Okay, Ernie?
I just got some stuff to add when Jason's down here.
Okay,
Nothing from the water board.
and Christie.
I do, I had a gaming license permit that I'd like to bring, that they dropped it off yesterday. I would also like to visit with you guys on year end, how it looks with Tyler and what the process is. And then I figured I would give you guys a payroll audit update, just a quick one.
Who's that gaming raffle for?
Knights of Columbus, yeah.
So,
Okay, then, employee time, we don't have anybody for employee? Okay, then we'll be ahead of schedule and Ed, you can go next and.
Good morning.
Say hi.
First item I have today is a grant opportunity for something that our office could utilize. It was something I was gonna explore maybe a year or two from now, but I'll explain what the grant opportunity is. House Bill 1225 from this past legislative session allocated $300,000 as a grant program to get tax information, property information, parcel information available online for those counties that are not set up to do that yet. Back in 2018, the county invested in our Camera Vision or assessment software, and this ties directly into that. Realtors, mortgage companies, property owners, private individuals are expecting now that our property data is available online to them. Instead of calling our office daily for this information, they can just go online, hopefully find what they need, alleviate our time answering phone calls and sending, emailing and faxing and sending out property cards. So what this opportunity is for counties to get the original setup paid by this grant, to get the website set up, as well as the first up to 2 years of annual hosting fees for this information. So in order to get this available online, you have to work with a company to get it set up originally. And then after that, there's a yearly fee for them to maintain the data, hosting it online. So I did get a quote from Vanguard Appraisals, which is the same vendor as our assessment software. And it's a 5-year contract that they run. The upfront fee is $2,500 to get everything set up, and the grant, if it's approved, would cover that original upfront fee of $2,500, plus the first year of hosting fees, which is another $2,887.50. So the first grant application, that would have to be done by January 1st or December 31st, I guess. If it's approved, would cover, $5,387.50 of our cost. Then if they have any money left in this 300,000, they have no idea how many counties are gonna apply for it. There is a possibility that they will reopen it on June 1st, where we could apply for a grant to pay our second year of hosting fees, so another $2,887.50, but that is not guaranteed. It's dependent on how much money is left available, so. What this would allow is to get our property information online, all our parcel data, sketches, photographs. Some counties have sales databases online for realtors to search through, and appraisers. I guess I haven't mentioned them yet. And I'm set up to give you a brief demonstration if you guys would like to see how this looks, okay? Obviously, if you guys approve this, there'd be that annual cost and starting either after the first year or the second year, if I can get this to work.
I think, Ed, when I think of the amount of, when you're talking about faxing and, you get an individual request, so then that's your time. That's, what we're paying,
Yes.
we're repeating this, whereas if you get the initial work done, it's all in one place. So for the future, you can direct them there instead of the work, repeating it, so.
And we don't have all of our property data in our software right now, but we're continuing to work on that. Most of the city of Grafton is already there. They've been working diligently on their end for that. So it's gonna, not necessarily all the property data will be on there at first. That's why I was waiting. I was thinking it would be a year or two from now before we were at this point with the grant opportunity. I thought I would run it by you guys. It's just a matter of time before we have to get to this, so. Can you guys see that decent with the lights on? Well, the Vanguard site that we would be tied into is this NorthDakotaAssessors.com. And you can see all the cities and counties right now that are either have it or are working on getting their data tied to them. We are listed on there, but we do not have a site right now. They are our vendor for Canavision. So I was just going to pull up Williams County as one, so just an example to show you. So on the left-hand side, you've got real estate search. They do a sales search, building search, and then they've got some links to some of their stuff on their website, assessors, duties, applications, those kind of things can all be available through this. And then they tie it to their GIS as well, which is what we'd be looking to do. So if you do a real estate search, anybody can go in and search by a parcel number, a deed holder, an address, whatever you have for that information, for that property. I'm just gonna search by a house number as 801. And it'll pull up, this is what it pulls up for that particular search. So I'm gonna pick on one that I've looked at previously. So this, now we get to this actual 801 3rd Avenue East in Williston. And so on the top here, there's all the photos that we have for the properties are available for them to download and look at. Very important, very useful for appraisers, realtors. Scrolling down the page then, you've got your current value information, the lot sizes or land size, a lot of information on the actual residential. This would have to be residential property. Square footage, what type, it's a 1-story frame built in 1948, heating, air conditioning, paving, everything that we are supposed to have for these properties for assessment purposes, all available to them. Garages, any outbuildings, additions. Sales information over the last few years is all on there. The properties, building permits if there are any. And we get down the lower, the actual sketch of the buildings on there. And then last thing at the bottom is actually in our GIS parcel maps. Shows where it's located. And then you can also move, you can zoom in and out, move around the map. If somebody goes to look at this particular property and they're wondering, okay, what did my neighbor over here sell for? Or what are the care, how does their house compare to mine? How does their assessment compare to mine? You just click on somebody else's property and then you can pull up their information as well. So it's all out there. And then on the top here for each particular parcel, the property card, which is what we would typically produce in email or fax or send to people. It's basically the same information that was on our website in paper or PDF format. So, this is what realtors, assessors, appraisers expect to have online. So that's the goal of this bill, is to get more counties to that point. So I can just kind of a brief overview what's on there. It is a very powerful tool and it links right to our Camera Vision software. And they would automatically grab that data every night, I believe it is. So it wouldn't be an extra process for us. As long as we've got the data in there, it's available to be posted online. So, I guess I'm asking for your approval, if you are okay with it, to apply for the grant, first of all. I wouldn't sign a contract with Vanguard until that was approved. And hopefully get our initial cost in 1 year of our license fee, posting fee paid. And then hopefully, if there's still funding available in June, apply for the secondary posting fee. But then after that, I would have to budget for right now, $2,887 per year going forward for 5 years. Of course, after 5 years, it's probably gonna keep escalating like everything else technology, but.
So let's do real estate too, like farmland?
Yes, it'll be farmland, residential, commercial, everything, any information that we have, and
Any tax information that's.
it's all open record, yeah. We can tie that to our tax bills. That takes a little more work. So that people would actually, some counties have stuff where you can pull up your current tax bill right from this webpage. So.
I'll make a motion, we move forward with the grant. Apply for it.
I'll second.
Michael, take it for you.
Okay, is there any more discussion or questions for?
Ed, I just was wondering, when you're looking at Williams and you saw all those on the side, does that change the cost? You know, like you talked about what we're looking for, but that pretty much gives all the options we could have.
The sales search would be, we are not set up for, so Vanguard sells their software in modules, kind of like Tyler does. When we invest in software, we didn't do a comp search module. So that sales search would not be there for us right now. If we ever were to invest in that someday, that would be added on to this at no extra cost, in my understanding.
Anything more?
Karen,
Yes.
I'd just like to say, in support of this, I think it's very important that we do get digitized as well. And from when I worked at FSA, when they digitized the deeds and we were able to look up the deeds on our own without having to contact courthouse employees daily, multiple times a day, the time saving on your end is, I think, gonna be huge. So I think that's a really good
Right.
thing.
The actual deeds are not available through this, however, the sales price and the date of the sale would be on ours.
Right. You have a separate place where we can look at deeds.
So that's through Endrin.
Right.
That's more through, then that's a subscription-based thing.
Right.
But yes, they're available through Endrin, the ones that are digitized.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I saw on the working end how valuable that was when those became digitized, when everything was put into Endrin, so I feel this is going to be the same.
That's the way, the way they promote it is just time savings for offices. And for us, it's just about daily we get calls for like a Grand Forks or a Fargo or Cass County. I can't imagine how many phone calls they would get per day if this wasn't available online. So,
Convenience for the public.
for sure.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the roll. Christie?
Yes.
Ernie?
Yes.
Danny?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to agricultural value.
Big brother.
It is. Okay, so we just Friday, I think it was, or Thursday, we got our newest, agricultural value per acre recommendations or guidelines from the state tax department. And so for 2024, Walsh County's all agricultural land value average came in at $1,027.60. This is actually down 5% from last year.
How did that happen?
It's that 7-year Olympic average.
Yeah, I thought of that one.
The values don't necessarily track what happened this year or last year, it's 7-year average, so. They did they raised the cap rate, which also affected that, went from 4.24 to 4.32 this year. First time I've seen it increase since early 2010s, I think. So that factored into why our average value per acre went down. I checked other counties like Pembina, same, it looks like everybody's down about 5% this year, so. Now our office needs some direction on what we want to do with our ag land values. Last year, 2023, our values, we came in at 91% of what our value has to be, and we have to be between 90 and 100. Now with this new value, if we don't change our agricultural values, leave them where they are, we'll be sitting at about 96%, which is, to me, is fantastic. We could choose to stay the same. We could choose to lower them a couple percent. I would prefer we stay the same, because next year when we get a 5% increase, then we don't have to go back up. Hopefully we have a cushion for another year if we stay the same, even if values do go up next year. If they go down further next year, we would probably have to lower them as we get close to that 100 or above, but for my needs, my office, in my opinion, I would recommend we stay the same this year. But if you guys, we should go down a couple, being we've been going up consistently.
Make a motion, we say the same.
I'll second
Any more discussion? Hearing none?
Yeah, I guess the trouble with it, we go down and then it goes up, you know what we're gonna get. And that's what's gonna happen, like, these values can't go down with the price of land going up.
Yeah, I was surprised to see this
Yes.
this year, and I would be even more surprised next year if we weren't going back up.
Now we have a little cushion.
We do, we have a cushion now. Yes.
We'll be more comfortable finally going into it, because every year we're close and then we're wondering if we didn't make a mistake. Yeah.
Okay, anything more? Any more questions? Hearing none, I'll take the, roll. Danny,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Christie,
Yes.
Christie,
Yeah.
Ernie.
Yes.
Myself, yes, motion carried. Okay, anything else, Ed?
Not for me, do you have anything for me?
Nope, not that's on the agenda.
Okay, give me just a minute to unplug all my cords here,
Sure.
and get it out of the way for you.
Thanks for the recommendation.
Thanks, Ed.
Yeah. Hold on. They went yesterday.
So Ed, how do you plan to get all the information for all your property cards that you don't have any information on?
Well, some of the local assessors have some work to do. And then the ones that we do, we are pecking away at that.
So we just do that out of our own expense, our own time? We don't get reimbursed for any of that?
That's between you and your township. These are things that local assessors should have been doing from time to time.
Right. But there's no property cards out there now. So you're basically doing a mass evaluation of all the property in Walsh County.
Correct.
That's gonna take a lot of money.
It potentially could, yes.
Okay,
Appreciate that.
I might resign.
Jill, you're here early, so we'll get you going too in the update.
All right, good morning, everybody.
Morning.
How are you? I just wanted to come and just update after our last meeting. I just have to say it didn't feel very good. I guess the last meeting I felt maybe not heard. I want to be able to work with you guys. I mean, I really do, and I hope that we can have that common respect, because I really do feel like we need to be able to communicate, we need to be able to have some discussions, about things. But I did want to update, so the one case that Kelly brought up last time, where she said that the reporter had called in, and because they did not have firsthand information, the report was administratively assessed. That information was not correct. And, you know, again, that's where my frustration comes in, because the old game of telephone is kind of how it felt to me. So if somebody would have come to me directly and asked me that, I could have checked into it. When I went and looked into our computer system, it said right on there, no child was present. There was no child under the age of 18 present during this incident. So of course, there is no report. There would be no assessment. That's the way it goes. So I did even more digging, because I thought, well, okay, was there miscommunication between the reporter, the intake worker? There wasn't. The reporter did a written report and put right on their report, no child present. So I'm not sure where all of this information became incorrect, but it did. And it's unfortunate, because then it hit the papers and it hit all of that, and it was wrong. And that's my frustration in all of this. Again, we need to communicate. If people could communicate, we wouldn't be in this position. We wouldn't have everyone out there thinking we're not doing what we need to be doing. I hope we can move forward. I hope that we are able to have open communications. You know, my board is very supportive of me. I tell the board everything. I don't, you know, if there's concerns going on, I'm letting them know. They haven't had a concern, and, you know, we talked about this at our meeting last week as well, and they again said, Jill, we support you. And so, I mean, I hope, I'm not sure where the disconnect is, and so you know, maybe that's what you need to tell me, is where this disconnect is coming in, because I'm not really sure. It feels like no matter what it is that we're doing, it's never right, is how it feels to me at this point in time.
Well, I appreciate you coming in, Jill. And, I would 100% agree that, you know, communication is the number one thing. If anybody has a question between the state's attorney, the sheriff's department, or any of us commissioners, you know, that's involved with this, the best is to go to the zone director, to find out. And then, you know, it gets taken care of before that, because there can be a lot of things. Who knows why that happened? Like I said, I appreciate you coming in.
I'm sure, I guess from my perspective, you know, I'm new to a lot of this and just hearing about things, but when our assistant state's attorney comes and, you know, is telling me that the cases have drastically reduced, and she's learning that other counties that's the concern, you know, as a healthcare provider, I think that's, for me, and I can speak for a lot, we just don't want things to be missed. When you talk about open communication, good with the, you know, with your board, I think that may be the issue. I know Kelly, Ron, they've talked about that there used to be meetings, and I'm not sure if that has happened again, but you know, the reality of like, well, we just need to communicate better. If there's not a plan, and that doesn't happen. I mean, it's a great idea, but you cannot play 8 different phone calls in it to try to keep it without there being something missed. So I guess in my opinion, there needs to be maybe that reinstituted, where the right, you know, Zoom is not hard to make happen once a month, twice a month, to be sure that communication continues or gets reestablished, so things don't get missed, because I 100% agree that is a lot of times what happens.
Well, and so, yes, absolutely. I don't know that it'll be once a month, twice a month, but we did set up a meeting with law enforcement and the state's attorney's office. I believe Kelly was on vacation during that time. Her assistant did not come to the meeting. They are working to set up another meeting with them again in January, with the social workers, with the other piece of it is it's again the safety framework. And, you know, I look at it as maybe we were too involved before. Maybe we shouldn't have been as involved. Parents should be raising their children. We should not be raising people's children. That is not our role. That is not our responsibility. And that's the mindset shift that we all need to accept. Because it's changed and it's not going back to the way it was. I have asked Corey Peterson, he is willing to come and visit with you guys, to have a meeting if you want to talk further about the safety framework, why they went that route. He's certainly willing to do that. But it is a whole shift in how we do services. It's completely different. We don't want to pull kids out. That is the very, very, very last resort. We want them to stay in their homes. As I talked about last time, you know, I have seen kids that have been removed from their homes. I think they're worse. I mean, truly, we need to try to get services around families so that hopefully children will succeed at home. That's where they want to be. They don't want to be, you know, I think we used to think that, oh, let's put them in foster care because it's this perfect home and it's gonna be great and we can love them better, right? That's not happen. That doesn't happen. You can't love somebody better. You know, they have to, and again, you know, and I've said it before, kids are so loyal to their families and their parents, and that's where they really want to be. You know, it's not, there is that chain of command too, you know, so we've got our CPS, Child Protective Services workers who go, they do the assessments, then they staff it with a state person, and that person says it's either confirmed or it's not. If there isn't enough information, they're gonna say, you need to go back and get more information. I don't feel that our workers aren't doing their job. I feel that they are doing what they need to be doing. It's the system that has changed. It's not just us, it's the system that has changed. And again, maybe we were too involved prior with families.
Denny's next.
Well, Jill, I appreciate what you're doing, and I was on that board when I first, and I was like, oh my God. And I can't imagine the sleepless nights that you go through trying to make all this balance. But I think the communication that's come between you and law enforcement and the state's attorney would be the best thing. We've all got our ideas, and right or wrong, whatever, but that's the three that need to communicate the most on it. But I appreciate what you're doing. I can sense your frustration, and I 100% agree.
And again, and what I said before is, if I don't know it's a problem.
Yeah.
So, yes, I get busy in my life, and I will admit, I'm not the first one to pick up the phone and to, you know, I tend to sit at my computer, put out fires, you know, run here and there. I travel 4 days a week, so I'm not, you know, I'm not making excuses, and that is certainly something I can do better. You know, I can reach out to do as well. We are, like I said, they are really trying to meet to do that in all 3 counties. They were in Cavalier County last week, and so yes, I did pop in to be able to make sure things are going okay. Is there issues? Is there those kinds of things? But the other piece, and I would hope Ron too, that, you know, if he's seeing something, he would also pick up the phone and say, Jill, oh my gosh, this, you know, this is the situation, then I can dig into it. But again, if I don't know that there's an issue, I'm gonna think things are going along okay.
Christie.
And Jill, I guess it's kind of all been said, but that's what I'd like to point out. That's why we asked you to come in, because we did feel there were issues.
Sure.
And we wanted to open the line of communication. It wasn't meant to be as an attack on you. It was, we need to get to the bottom of this for our children. You know, we have to make sure the children are cared for and watched out for. So I think something good came out of that meeting. Maybe it's not the way you exactly wanted it to occur, but I think now we're having meetings, correct? Or we scheduled a meeting.
And that, those were actually started before this though too.
But they had stopped. They weren't taking place is what we had been told, so.
We did have a meeting with law enforcement, and I think it was, cause I think Kelly it was around Halloween time is when I think it was.
So too, yeah.
It was the end of October when we did have a
And did we used
meeting.
to have monthly meetings? Or am I mistaken?
Well, way back, I think it was monthly, yeah.
And wasn't that kind of our goal, was to try to go back to those if possible, because we felt those worked well?
I think we're trying to ramp up and maybe every quarter or every 3 months to,
Yes.
trying to get a meeting together. I think that should be our goal, I think. I know since we had that meeting, I feel that the social workers are reaching out more than ever. I want us to work together more, and I think that's starting to happen, and I'm very encouraged by that. Just to get to know them and them to know us, I think, there's some dangerous situations where social workers were going out on their own, and I don't want anybody to get hurt. So I think it's been encouraging to me that we can, maybe rejuvenate some of those relationships again. I think it's not the frustration with the workers or even you, Jill, it's the system, I think, is the frustration for me. How things have changed, and, I know most of your workers, and I know that they're working hard and nothing against them. But we need to work together to try and work out some of this stuff, and, I'll be the first to say I'm not thrilled with this new system.
Sure.
It is, to me, it's taken the local control away from, the counties and is taking it to the state. That being said, I'm willing to work within that system. But we want to make sure that that's the best system to help our kids, and that's all I was very glad that you invited us to that last meeting, and I think we need to encourage more of those meetings.
And I think it will be January, so the workers are doing it monthly. So again, we have 3 counties in our zone, so otherwise it's just, we're taking the workers away from their work too, you know what I mean? And not that this stuff isn't important, and that building those relationships isn't important, but we also have some pretty tough kids that, need attention as well, and that work and piece, so yes, we are scheduling a meeting per month for them, and it's all of the social workers in our zone that are meeting with the state's attorney, law enforcement in each county.
So I think it's been said that it's a new system, the way it's being done, whether we like it or not. When something like that is being done, the best thing is communication, and I think that's what's being done now. I don't know if I agree with you, Christy, about you guys having to meet once a month. You guys are busy. I don't know how you can put anything more when you don't go home at night and just leave work. You have stuff, the social service has stuff all the time. And I think if you can communicate and work together and then have your quarterly meetings or whatever, if something comes up, then that's good. Because the zones meet once a month. Jill keeps us very informed, and I guess we didn't know about any of this either, so how would the zone take care of it? So I think everything's going in the right direction, and as long as you guys are on the same page, I think it's gonna go good.
Catherine, are you full staff?
We are, yes. We do have another retirement coming at the end of January, so I will be advertising again.
And what position will that be, Phil?
So it hasn't been announced
Okay.
to
Oh,
staff
that's-
yet.
No problem.
But
Yep.
it is a Walsh County position.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Okay,
I just haven't announced.
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
need a name or anything, okay.
Karen,
Okay.
one other question, I'm just curious, so the system change that's happened, is it more so like kids used to be taken out of the homes? Is it now more like if there's drugs or what with the parents? I thought I heard you last time saying where the parents might be removed or extended family, is that kind of the shift then, is to try to keep the family?
Yes, yes.
Even if it's extended?
Or is there a neighbor down the street that would take this child, or that would maybe come to the home and stay with the family? Maybe there's a teacher, maybe there's somebody, we're looking at more, not just a family, but more of those community connections, absolutely. And the other piece that we really have to look at is impact on the child. You know, parents can be doing drugs, but what is the impact on the child? If we can't show impact on that child, there's nothing. You know, that's the other piece, is really showing that impact on that child. I mean, I think we all know that. If someone's using drugs, of course it's going to impact the child, right? But you really have to show, are they not being fed? Are they not being taken care of? Are they not getting to school? What is the impact on that child to show?
Well, there's also the safety. You don't just take a child out of their home, right? And then, oh, where do we put you till we figure out what's going on? Yes, if it's something terrible.
If it's an immediate.
If it's an
yes.
immediate, but there aren't enough foster people,
There are.
foster parents to put kids in, and is that the best place for them?
Right.
I mean, we can sit here and we can give all our opinions about it, but you guys are the experts, and so you're doing a good job of it.
And you know, I've been around, sorry.
No,
I just gotta say, the first year I was the commissioner, that was the most stressful part of coming on with the social services. And the stress that you guys go through and the problems that you deal with, as long as it's, I always knew it was there, but I didn't really wanna know how bad it was.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get a different look once you're sitting on that board.
You know, you can deal with dollars and cents like we do, but you're dealing with people's lives.
Right, that's
And
exactly right. And that's why I'm passionate about
Totally
it. Yeah.
appreciate your passion.
and I think the state is trying to do what the right thing is. I deal with Corey Peterson all the time. He's a great guy. You know, they're all working together there too, trying to do what's best there. So
What is his role? Who's Corey Peterson?
He's the head of Children and Family Services. Yes, yeah.
Christie wanted to say something.
I just have one question.
Okay.
Do we have an answer as to, I guess my biggest concern was when I heard Kelly say, I don't have cases coming to me anymore. The last 2 years, I've had no cases, but every other county is that she's talking to. Do we have an answer as to why? I mean, abuse didn't stop in our county.
Sure,
You know,
they're just not meeting that level. They're not meeting that level, which again, leads me to believe, were we doing too much? Were we involving ourselves too much before? I don't know that. I'm not
yeah,
saying,
I
I'm
mean,
not
that
saying
just
that.
concerns me. I guess that's
I
my biggest
understand.
concern.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that, you know, why, like I said, abuse didn't stop, so why do we not have cases
Mhm.
anymore? When other counties do. So to me, I felt like there was some kind of disconnect here.
Sure.
Like there's something.
But like I said, we do have that, that other layer, the state, you know, and the field service specialist that we have, she's tough, you know, she is really tough. And so if there wasn't enough information, she would definitely ship them back and say, you need to go get information. Yeah, but I will follow up with her just to make sure that she feels our workers are gathering the information they should. I mean, I will follow up with her, absolutely.
Appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yes, I will.
I just think you mentioned something about teachers, and I don't know from the state, I just worry about our teacher. I mean, from having friends in that profession, they are like, I'm not saying they're social workers, but what they see and deal with on the day-to-day, I just don't know how that burnout rate has to be going up for them, because it is getting hard. I feel like from a support perspective, whether it's salary, because they are doing so much more than teaching. I mean, I think they're seeing some of the worst of the worst are coming across that and really knowing what's going on. So then even to think, are they taking kids in their homes and, you know, above and beyond, that profession, in my opinion, needs more.
But that's, you know, as a commission, I don't think that's hard
I'm
to
just
worry
saying.
about that. It's good that you say it, but Jill would have to deal with that and whatever comes up. It's, teachers decide for themselves whether, how involved they wanna get in what they do. So I agree, Amy. Ernie.
You know, I'm sitting here listening to you and everything else, and I'm probably the guilty party and some of us sitting here. As we get older, we're hard to adjust to change. We don't like change.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to you in here and I'm sort of, like Danny, I was on the social service board for quite a few years. And I know it'd be hard to accept change, but yet I could see some of it, and then you watch the news and, you know, there's probably as many kids get in trouble or anything in foster homes as there the regular homes.
Yes.
So I sort of get this change going. I don't know if I really like it or wanna accept it. Cause we all get older and we're set in our ways and we wanna see change, and maybe, I guess, hopefully after about a year or so and we see this, they'll realize it, and if it's not going good, go back or something, but I get it. I guess I'm gonna sit here and just say, well, hopefully it changes and goes for the good, and by listening to you, I think it is. But I don't like it either. I don't like change. It's just because of my age and you're used to the old ways and, yeah.
I think now that, you know, Jill has explained more of this to the commission, because we have heard it. Maybe we can understand it a little bit better too. Like, you don't just pull kids out anymore, and they did. Sometimes it was good, and sometimes it was, you know, maybe it gave an out for the parents too. Parents have to be parents and take care of their kids, so. Okay, well, thank you for coming and
Thanks for coming back.
updating us.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted
Thank
to
you.
pass that along.
Yep.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
You too, Jill.
On a positive note, we have more gifts than we know what to do with, so if you guys had no families, whatever, we're reaching out to the schools today, having them send people up. Response, I mean, people have been so generous this year, it's
Wonderful.
amazing, so thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Jason, if you're ready, we'll move right along, and actually, let's take like a 5-minute break.
And we need that hard work.
Right?
Okay, we'll call the meeting back to order and we have Jason of the Highway Department up next.
Good morning. Just wanted to give everybody a staffing update. Last week, we had interviews, for a sign foreman position. Dean Thompson accepted that position. We backfilled his position with, our other applicant. Our other applicant's gonna be coming to us with, few years of CDL driving. He's driven for Trans Systems. He's been training for CDL for Trans Systems, and he's been driving for US Foods pulling doubles. So he's been pulling tandem 53-foot semis across, leaving from Grand Forks and around the area for making food deliveries. And some of those deliveries have been through snowstorms, so now he's gonna get to see the snowstorms from a different perspective, from our windshields instead. But he'll be coming closer, spending more time back home. He also has about 15 years of experience with welding, so it'll be Tyrone Denault.
Tyrone Denault.
Yeah,
Okay,
and so he'll be our new position. So that'll put the highway staff back in full. For our custodian, we changed the title on it, trying to get some more applicants for this to help Mickey out, and we still are not seeing applications coming in. We're just not getting anything there for part-time positions. We've had one person apply, but from looking at background and histories, we've not heard anything. We just got another application today, but the application we get from HireClick doesn't really give us application type things, so I'll be reaching out to them to have them fill out one of our application forms. Tom has been working with HireClick, trying to get something better from them. So hopefully we can get something better on that line, but maybe we'll have an application that can come in now. But it's really tough to fill that position as a part-time position. So it's something that for the new jail comes on, we're gonna really need more. So just wanted to put that out there again about trying to possibly looking at making that a full-time position, bringing people in. I know that we've talked about doing things with getting bids, but the one per company that's been brought up for doing the bids and doing the extra cleaning has not bid on anything we put out in 2 years. So there's that aspect of it too. So that's just my update. I wanted to give everybody on that portion.
yes.
Well, with the staffing, I told you we had a meeting on Monday, just a potluck and everything else, and Jason brought it up about cross training. So we're gonna try to do some of that. So in case somebody's sick on a weekend in a storm, we got somebody else that can come in and run the grader. Or we're got, emergency management and hazard map and all them. So I thought that was encouraging. It seemed like the guys accepted it. Along with the new sign deal, after Dean was there, we sort of picked his brain and see where he wanted to head with the sign deal. And we got talking about the remote in the truck and it totally blew me away. Cause I don't know if they looked at the issue about questioning about how many guys in the sign truck or anything, and Stuart was there and it was brought up. Dean says, he says, there's sometimes you need to even, and I think the only time Stuart did it is like the time we broke down. So there's gonna be cases where there's gonna be two of them in that sign truck. But he said if a guy goes out by himself in one day, he said, lucky to get 4 or 5 signs in a day. He said if there's 2 guys with that sign truck and that remote, they can do 10 to 12. So look at the efficiency. So I was totally shocked when I saw that, but I get it. Just like you at home, if you're working on a ladder, got to come up and down, the same thing with the sign guy. If he's got somebody running that remote and everything. So there is gonna be cases that and we're not gonna have that truck full of 2 guys. Let's say something broke down and somebody's not doing anything and they need help, they're gonna shove them to that sign truck. And I told Stuart and Jason was there, I said, use your judgment. If we can do that quick.
Yeah.
They're still out there pounding signs right now. They had ideas what to do and double poles and all this. So it was an eye opener to me that how much more efficient when there's 2 guys there. And it's not gonna be often, but I'm not gonna be afraid when there is anymore after I heard that. So, and there was a lot of good ideas on anything, even that cross training or that meeting we had about different things and how we can do stuff. I mean, it was pretty wide open, a lot of suggestions. So I really thought that meeting went well. And I keep telling Jason, we should have them quarterly and we have them.
Have a meeting.
Yeah, we've been having them pretty much
Good
quarterly,
idea.
but the guys have more input and I think they got more feeling like they got stake in the game. So just want to commend Jason on that meeting and it went well.
Thanks, Ernie.
Thank you. The next item I have is just to let everybody know about the LTAP road scholar program. I really encourage you guys as part of that cross training to go and get these LTAP trainings. They're basically free when we host them. We have businesses that'll sponsor meals and different things for lunch, so we don't have that. When we sponsor them, we can get it more guys to them instead of having to pick and choose who goes to them. But with that training, we've actually had, Bob Rosvet and George Nimble, they've reached, level 1 this last year, which means they've had 30 hours of in-person or online training. Clint, Steisha, and myself met the level 2, so that's not, and the level 2 is 90 hours. Now, it's not 90 hours a year, that's through the time of your employment. So we got guys that are at 30 hours of training, which is great. The thing is, those guys with 30-hour training, I've also been here for 3 years. So it's really only about 10 hours a year that we'll get sending these guys to trainings for people that think that we'll be training them too much. But if you go to the long scheme of things, it's really not that much. And then you look at Clint, he just reached the 90 hours mark. He's been here for 30 years.
Not much.
You know, so.
A week conference, I go to.
Right, so I just wanted to commend those guys for keeping up that training, working on developing and getting the background on these different pieces. In the last few training sessions we've been at, I've had the guys in, the amount of dedication that they show, LTAP loves the participation that they get from our staff and the things that we get. And our guys have gone to some of the same training every year, but every year they come back with something else from it. Some of that isn't just the training, some of it is the people that you're meeting and saying, well, how are you guys doing with this? And a lot of it is more of how they're interacting with other counties and the information they're bringing back from other counties that they can bring back to us. And they're sharing stuff to other counties as well. So that is going well for us. And we're kind of being known as a leader towards that LTAP and all these different things for getting that stuff out. So I appreciate the guys for going along with this on me as well. So that was that portion. Another program that LTAP has, they call it the Sign Warrior Program, and it's geared for 4th graders. This spring, before the school year started, I reached out to all the schools in Walsh County to try and get in front of their 4th graders, to teach them about signs, the value of signs, why the signs should be there, what the signs mean. 4th graders. And the 4th graders can get out, and what they do is, you'd be amazed how many 4th graders will rat out their brothers. Their uncles, or their grandparents. The discussion is actually really fun. It's kind of refreshing to go and talk to 4th graders compared to other we have. And you tell them what it, and they'll say, well, my dad drove over that bridge that I had a free on, and you know, so you get that aspect, and you tell the kids, don't do that, and you tell them why you shouldn't be doing it, and it's really great. Last year, the only school that participated was Park River, and they actually had one of their students win, so they got a calendar presentation. LTAP came here to do a presentation with them. I went to it, and that's the first time I had really known anybody was doing it. So this year I reached out to all of them. I've gone out in front of, and when Chad was still with us, he and I went to, Valley Edinburgh, we were in Crystal School, talking to the 4th graders there. I met with Park River last year. I've sent emails back out to the other schools. I'm still trying to get them on board to come with this, but I haven't gotten there yet. So
You go right to the school, Jason?
I go right to the
Yeah.
teachers.
Yeah.
I went to the superintendents first, and a couple of superintendents jumped right on it.
Yeah.
But now I've been sending emails straight to the 4th grade teachers. Through their websites, I found where 4th graders are, but teachers have sent them to them. So I'm still hoping to get some more impact on it, but it's a really great system. You show the kids what vandalism is shooting up and all those different things, and they can understand what the cost of that vandalism and people taking these signs and doing to us.
Core values.
Yeah. It's really good. So I really love being able to go and do that portion. So I just want to let people know that we are out there doing that as part of this type of stuff too. If we teach a kid, we can save a bridge or something going across it, because that kid nags on their parents about it, let's face it, it works. There's a lot of parents that go out things and do things that they didn't really want to do because their kids are with them. And if it makes them think about it one more time, maybe it'll work.
You see that little guy sitting in the chair going, Dad, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah. The next item that was on the regular agenda is just, I've been looking at and going over, our bridges that are to be inspected next year. Of our 210 major bridges, 139 of them are bridges. I'm going through, looking at things, seeing what type of things that we can do to repair them, some of the things that they're coming to inspect, whether they were replacement list. A couple of them were on a replacement list, one of them was replaced, so we're getting that removed from the list. So that's been part of my free time between that and updating the grid system on the other bridges. I still have a lot of those to do yet. So in the next year, we're gonna have 139 bridges that will be inspected, and that's scary.
Madam Chair.
Yes,
So Jason, with the bridge inspections, are you guys able to be doing any bridge work this winter? Or, you know, since we don't have snow and we're not having to do snow removal, are we?
Truck,
Pardon?
we don't have a truck.
Right now, our bridge truck is out.
Still,
Perfect timing.
yeah.
We're itching, we got stuff ready to go to do one bridge, all our components are here, but our bridge truck is still in ground force. I had to get a transmission replaced in it, and I talked to them this last week, and they're still waiting for more components. I asked them to at least send me part of the bill, so I don't get stuck with having to eat everything right out of January in the next year's budget. So I'm trying to get them to send us a partial bill for it, so we can get some of it to spread out the cost. It's gonna be a $27,000 hit, is what their estimate was for us. And for as much time as that truck is sitting there, I'm hoping that it stays in that range. It's tough.
So we not only have a truck down, but then we have guys sitting, right? Or,
Well, they've been working on repairing a couple of culverts. They're doing those things. They've been going and doing some different inspections. They've been working on trucks and equipment. So we're not sitting, we're working on other things. They did the excavation work while that truck was down for doing some items with the bridge and that item. So they're definitely not sitting around. And for the last 2 weeks, yesterday, we were down 4 guys from just being sick. So we're thankful for the winter we are having stuff like that we're going through. Today we're down 2 guys, so it's a little bit better, but it's been the last month, we've had quite a few people go in and out just due to illness, which was that time of year.
Yeah.
So
when do they expect the truck will be fixed?
they can't give me time frame. They're waiting for a wiring harness. They don't know when they're gonna get it.
How old is this truck?
That one I think is 2016, if I remember right. That truck, the international truck that it is they only used that transmission that was in it for a year now. And then they got rid of that transmission, so they put one. So we first tried to get them to fix that one, they couldn't get parts to repair that transmission. Then they told us that it'd be really easy to replace the transmission, just go this route, and they can't get the part. So they're having supply chain issues to get it done. So they thought they had the wiring harness, the one that they got was the wrong one, so now we're waiting for that wiring harness, and then after they get that, hopefully we'll get the truck, but. So that truck has been there, we've been without the bridge truck since, well, before beet harvest. We took it down before beet harvest, because they thought we'd get it back in 2 weeks.
So we have no other trucks we can use for bridge inspections, then we have one bridge inspection truck, it goes down and everything stops.
It carries all of our tools and everything, so the guys have gone down and gotten some of the tools and some of the things out of it, but that's where we carry most of our stuff, yeah, is in there. We don't have.
I don't know if we
another
can
truck.
afford to have 2 of them, let's see.
No, I'm not saying that, but I mean, we can't,
Yeah.
we can't shift things so that we can kind of keep working on, we're losing time.
Sounds like he is.
Don't have another vehicle to haul, that's good.
You know, we pick up some trailers, but then you get multiple trucks for that, so we are looking at going and getting some more equipment, we are looking at doing these different pieces. With the other stuff that we got going on, we do have one bridge, like I said, we're waiting for everything to get there, and we're gonna go after it and get it done. We're gonna take the gravel off of it, and replace it all out, rip all the deck off, put it all back in. So it's on our list, we're getting ready to do it. We have the components. We're just waiting to get into our schedule so we can actually get it done. When we get, your guys get put up for sick, it doesn't help anything. So, the 2 weeks that we had, that we were doing that water board for that finding on the county bridge. 1 week was Thanksgiving, and then, so we're gonna be able to bring apart a bridge and put it together, back together in that week. The following week, we had to go and do that. And so we're definitely not sitting still. They're out doing tree removals along county roads. They're working on all kinds of different things and being right of ways. So we're not sitting.
They did a big that Forest River complaint we had on the shoulder on our road. They redid that and hauled a lot of rock and stuff and after the guy thought we didn't have enough rock, and when I looked at it, I went, holy buckets. And so, stuff like that they're fixing and trying to do, so that was a pretty big project, taking that approach out and then redoing all that slope and the rock and that.
Yeah. So we hauled it and almost 6 truckloads of riprap in there to try to stabilize that.
That's that one right out of Forest River where you're complaining.
So that's where we're with that one.
Okay,
Cool. An update on 12B, when we were talking about the meeting and that, and the guy stopped that gravel we put in and everything, now it's firmed up really good after they held that gravel stuff, so.
Mhm. With that is doing things, we are putting in 12B for the flex fund, trying to get that funded from the state. We're doing a paving project on it. It's about 8.8 million.
Awesome. Awesome. Can you say that again?
8.8 million
You're putting it in for a pavement fund.
for the flex fund.
let's,
Okay, for all of 12B.
It's $8.8 million. So,
That is great news.
we'll see what we
Don't
can
mean
do.
we're gonna get it.
yeah,
As long as they pay for it.
Yeah. So
When would we find that out by?
next spring, maybe, they'll have to be in by the end of December, so we're putting in for those, we're putting in for some bridges. We're putting in some township information that they didn't get the townships, they didn't get funding for, the township assistance program. So there's not gonna be, it's gonna be one, there's not gonna be money to meet the
Right.
request.
Is this the one that I visited with you about on letters of support? Because I know if you need letters of support for 12B, we can get them.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna
sure
have
you
to.
can.
Yeah, I don't think that was gonna be an issue on this one,
Okay,
so it's
well,
more,
between the ambulance and the schools and.
Yeah. so, from what we're putting in for those different things, and it's a corridor, it fits everything I'm looking for. So now just see how we stand up to everything else in the pool of money and how much they're willing to put into the project, so,
Do you only put in one project?
no, we only put in that one paving project.
Couple of bridges.
We're putting in
Yeah, I knew that.
7 bridges.
Did you do anything on more gravel or digging up like on 4?
I have not put that one in yet, but I will be working on that one to put that one in.
That's almost as big as
that's
problem you told me, 4 over there.
So we got a problem around 4, we have 119 on the gravel between, the Lincoln Road and 32 as well. So we got a bunch of spots where we're not getting the moisture going in different areas or not going, and we just need to try and get it back. The problem with a lot of those is that they're not they're not a sexy project, so we'll see what happens. But we're
Are
gonna
you talking 19 or 19A?
19, that's past your place and that's.
Yeah.
So right in those curves, that water from all those holders doesn't go to the culvert that's there right the road. It all goes to the east.
Well,
So,
maybe Jason, you can, give us an update on that in January and all those things. Just because we're going from one thing to the other and I'm like 19.4, so.
Yeah.
Maybe you can give us like an update of what's to come, okay?
well,
Let's do that.
we'll-
Yeah, if you don't, you don't, maybe
Yeah.
next meeting, whatever you can work on,
yeah,
let's.
the next is, I would just put it in for contract authorization for doing the county 14 chip deal. That'll be from Lincoln South. Just looking for authorization for you to work with KLJ, being it's gonna be over the value. We have to have a PE engineering permit involved with it. So there's just being time and materials for them to do, put the bids and everything together for a chip seal too.
How many miles is that? Six, 4, 5,
6, 8, and about 9 miles.
9 miles?
South of Lincoln? Yeah. From Lincoln south,
Do I need a motion on this?
please.
Okay, can I get a motion for, to get KLJ to do the contract for the chip seal? So moved. Second.
Thank you.
Any more discussion? Hearing none. I'll take the roll. Christie?
Yes.
Ernie?
Yes.
Danny?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Myself, yes, motion carried.
Thank you.
Yes.
Next thing on my regular agenda was for Dan Hadley over here. She regretfully couldn't make it today. She has an injury, so she's rescheduled for in January. So that came up. Friday afternoon, late afternoon, we did get notification from the state DOT that the Pulaski Township did receive some funding for the Township Assistance Program. So for 3 miles to be reshaped and rebuilt between County 4 and Interstate off exit 172, they got funding to do that. It'd be $110,000. It's great news. The township's getting the information. The bad thing is all that contracting, all the project management, all the bill pays goes through our office. We get nothing for administration fees for that. So it's added work that we'll get to do from my office, that I'll get added on to me for these different things, we get that done, but. So it's kind of, the best of both worlds, I guess, we could say. We're getting some funding that the township needs. That's the only project that we got, the 11 we submitted. They had $10 million available and $63 million in requests for that funding. So you can guess what's gonna happen with the 53 million that didn't get funded. It's all gonna get pushed into the flex fund for that project that we're going in against. And it's not just us, it'll be every county. So we already know that we're gonna have a lot of projects that are gonna be pushed towards that one. We only have one township that put theirs in back age, they thought they had a chance to try it, so we'll put everything to the flex fund. So we'll see what comes of those, but we didn't hear anything from the township, assistance program until the award was made. And it came a week and a half after they said it was going to, because they told everybody at the Township Association conference in Bismarck, we would have had it the week before we got it, so.
Do you ever hear anything like this up there, Karen, when you're in Bismarck? When you look at a program that has this and they're $53 million short in the flex fund, it should send an answer to somebody up there that was short.
Well,
And I wonder if they hear this.
yes, they do, and I was, that was going through my mind. That's something that we need to push on appropriations. We need a little bit more for townships. I mean, because of things that come up like this. So, yes.
It's great for townships, but it's also.
Well, for counties also.
We need to take a look at making sure we get some administration fees for being able to do some of that.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
we're already doing their FEMA work and pushing that stuff through. We have to put in all their applications, we have to put in for all those different things, and we don't get anything out of it.
Well-
The community gets something, but when you look at staffs like ours, McIntosh, Steele County, we don't have the staff that Grand Forks and Cass and everybody else has, where it's not that big of a deal. It's a lot of extra work.
Yeah, it is. I understand that, but, we can't expect the township people to,
Unexpected township.
So,
think
I know.
when the funding and the legislation is put together to make the funds available, they gotta take in some of their considerations.
Administrative fees.
yeah. But yeah, Ernie, I was thinking about that when Jason was telling us about that. We just need to ask for more.
Yeah.
And they'll see that too, so.
Also with the House Bill 1012 and House Bill 1379 from the Legacy Earnings Highway Distribution Fund, we just found out that Walsh County will be receiving $372,901.97. That can only be used for doing road repairs and things along that lines, so we will be getting that. The townships themselves, it gets broken up between them all, and they're going to be getting $345,745.75. So the smallest I'm seeing, just glancing through this list, is $6,000 for one of the townships. And one of them will get, there's a few that will be in that $11,000 to $12,000 range. And all goes, while they're miles, they get paid for is how many miles of gravel they maintain. So if they're adding gravel, they're not updating their system, so to let us know, they don't get paid for it. If you're not maintaining the road, you're not getting paid for it. So that's just how they get their funding. And so one-time thing, they will just be all the money they get from that legacy fund. There's not a second payment for the binding for it. It's just,
When will that be available?
I think in January, the way it was.
Really?
Very soon, yes, I don't remember the date.
Right, but it's, it sounded like they're just let us know that was becoming available, so normally when the state will get these emails, it's within a couple
So you've
weeks.
got a printout there of every township in the county?
Yep.
Might be good to get in the papers.
Yeah, I can do that. So,
Townships are looking for it and all that.
right. So that's that one. The next thing I have is that came Sunday for me is I've had Building Systems of North Dakota take a look at the Adams General Store that we've been removing. So we paid them $805 for doing the asbestos study. What that $805 in asbestos study has found is that we will have to do an asbestos removal in the building before we can remove it. That asbestos report, I have it if anyone wants it, but basically what it comes down to is we're gonna have a bill of about $4,800 I thought I had.
4820.
4820. So I have a bill of 4820 to remove the asbestos for that building before we can ever remove it.
Do you forward this to City Adams?
I did not, I just got that.
Appreciate it if you would, they've been after me.
Yeah, so we just got that information, on Sunday, so I wanted to bring it to you, I want to get it to the city.
Are they interested in paying for some of this, Denny, you think?
They? No.
You meant to just forward it to them to know what's going on in the building, okay.
They've been pretty anxious to get over the building and winter's perfect to be
Yeah.
doing it and.
So where do you think we should be taking this money from, Jason,
Well,
paying for this?
that's where it comes down to is, we don't have a spot anywhere in the budgets for anything for this type of thing. When this money comes, we get these things back through the planning and zoning. And then it kind of falls into the highway department and buildings and grounds, but I don't have a budget built into buildings and grounds for doing these things. I can take it out of this year, I can take it out of the capital outlay. But that's $5,000 I wasn't planning on taking out of capital outlay to take care of things, and unfortunately, it's gonna be immediately out of next year's budget. So going forward, we're gonna have to figure something out. Christie and I talked about it. I asked her if there's any way that planning and zoning could cover it. Planning and zoning has no budget.
Yeah.
So there's nothing in planning and zoning to do it. The highway department can't pay for it from our stuff, because all of our funding for our things has to go towards the highway distribution funds and earmarked for roads and bridges and those things. So we're kind of at the point where we're gonna have to figure out something. If we're gonna get more of these in the future, we're gonna have to have a funding source for them.
Amy?
Which we are, right? Like, I think it's irresponsible for us to not be planning for buildings and things that are gonna either need to be torn down. And I don't share the same opinion that a building standing is better than a lot empty at sometimes, not always, but there are points where from safety and aesthetic and whatever else. So I think we need to be considering that in terms of budget.
Ernie, I'm sorry.
You just said it, safety, and I always try to push that safety, we got that safety budget. Why can't we use part of that to take these buildings and get them down so communities are safer? And I don't know, there's always a legality, we can't use it, and I'm going, this is the perfect thing. You get a building, you get the asbestos out, talk to me, it ain't safe. And you just use the word Amy, I don't know why we can't use that safe, and we got money in that safety one.
Well, maybe,
Don't know why we can't use it for stuff like this.
find out, Christie
Yeah.
and Jason find out whether we can use those monies.
To me, it's ridiculous if we can't.
That'd be a great place.
I know.
To use ARPA funds?
Well, we'll wind up probably have to, being he can, but if we could use some of it in that safety and be kosher and, you know, say we can, be a great place to do it.
do we need to decide on where this comes from? When do you wanna pay that?
Well, I'm gonna have to, the way I look at it is I really don't have any choice but to move forward. To have buildings and systems go in and remove the asbestos from it. Thankfully, there's no lead to it, so we don't have to do that portion, because I haven't checked that at the same time. But I'll get it onto their schedule to see when they can do it, I just need to have the authorizations to. Have them do
Well,
it.
and they might not be able to till after the first of the year.
I'm sure not.
Yeah, and that'll give us time to see if we can use this.
He's been really, from when I talked to him, he's doing his inspections on Sundays.
He's
Because,
busy too.
yeah, he's.
Okay, Kenny?
Can we combine that schoolhouse on me down with this?
Yeah, I have to, that one's supposed to be removed. I need to get paperwork with DEQ to allow us to burn it with the, being it has lead in that one. I was hoping for a little bit of snow before I worked with the city or Parker or fire department to be on site, but the way that we're looking this winter, I don't wanna wait for that one too long either. The electrical's already been removed from it, so that one's ready to go. I just have to get permission from the state to move to it, and then
We're gonna have to deal with that thing.
But the Tommy School building is scheduled to be removed, this point,
Okay,
so
good.
that one will be done.
Is she still out there?
Yeah, she's moving over this winter.
Oh, she's, okay.
It's her house.
Yeah, so she'll pay for everything that, when she's out there.
She pays for the propane for the heat.
Okay,
The electrical and the water is not something that was ever discussed at any other points in time, and it's something that she was under understanding that she would still have those. So the water and electrical is still paid by the county for that time, because nothing was put into writing as to how it went. It kind of goes back to my whole thing, where I was surprised where someone has a private house inside Hobby. If God forbid something happened to Susan, then what do we do? Because now you have a trailer that's not ours, that we have to find through our family who's dealing with something else. And you have to evict that trailer to move forward. It's not. Parks and Recreation, I know we're not the state, but we own the house at Parks and Recreation, so you had to move on from staff. The house stayed there, the staff left, you didn't have to worry about it.
so when Randy Johnson lived there, did we pay the electric and whatever else when he was there during the winter?
There's only 1 meter, imagine.
Yeah, and Randy's, that was Randy's house, and
It was his house too, so,
Yeah.
that, I would say, this goes way back. Yeah. But you're right, the line, you know, I don't know how.
we can't
we
change
afford-
it midstream.
Well, and how do you afford a trailer or something? I guess it's something you look at when the new hire comes in or whoever's
Yeah.
gonna watch it maybe.
Yeah,
But do we have money to buy a trailer house or whatever's there to put it in? I don't know. That's why I think in the old days it was cheaper by letting them move their thing in. And you paid electricity and whatever, you
Yeah.
know, it's,
Yeah, so she doesn't own land, I mean, it's
no,
just.
no,
We don't own the land, Army Corps of
Army
Engineers
Corps.
owns the land.
Or rent it, yeah.
It's
well, that's for another time to discuss, maybe we need to talk about that at our spring Hami. Be thinking about it and talk
Yeah.
about our annual meeting for Hami.
It's something we're gonna have to address going future, so
Yeah.
we need that for everybody, so.
Yeah.
We don't get those things where everyone has it in black and white, and Susan and I have already kind of discussed that that's something we're gonna have to be bringing up
Yeah.
for a future meeting.
Okay.
Because if you decide to move on, just for instance, if I had to provide my own house and have it on one of our lots or one of our shops, and you decide to move on from me, or I get hit by a truck, then what? Then Sarah has to move our trailer, our house off of the land. And while she's dealing with all those things, not having a place you can move it to. But at the same point in time, you're gonna want somebody else to come in and take over. And it's gonna create a big traffic jam of how you can have a continuation of operations. So it's something we're gonna have to take a look at for the county for a long run term.
Okay,
But that's where we're at with the, I guess. Time sheets and all that stuff will be ready for her here soon to The last thing, do I need to have a motion to approve the billing system?
Oh, yes.
Right, probably.
Yes, do I have a motion to approve the $4,800 for, building systems to be removed?
So,
Okay, Danny, is there a second?
No, second.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, I'll take the call roll. Danny,
yes,
Amy,
Yes.
Christie,
Yes.
Ernie,
Yes,
myself, yes, motion carried.
Thank you.
Okay.
The last item I have for you is, billing for our Lowe's bridge inspections. The bridge inspections are actually from July and August inspections. It was a total of 20 inspections. Our portion of the bill is $56,000, $380.95 before the cost share. So with our cost shares that we have, our bill is $13,000.33. So these are for, like I said, 20 different bridges between July and August that they did inspections on. This kind of gives us a view of what we're looking at for this next year, when they're gonna have 139 of them that they're doing.
This was for what, 30, you said?
20.
One. Oh.
7 times, if you've been looking at it, probably more.
Do I have a motion to approve this bill?
So moved.
Christie,
I'll second.
any more discussion? I mean, we can talk about this for days.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it anymore. So, okay, all those in favor, or I'll take the roll. Christie,
Yes.
Ernie,
No,
Danny,
Yes,
Amy,
Yeah.
myself, yes, motion carried.
Unless you have anything for me, that's everything I have today and extra that I wasn't anticipating from Friday, so.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
might be a good time to discuss that jail meeting we had. Sure.
oh, yes, I'm sorry, you go ahead and do that.
We met Thursday,
Yes,
Ron, Jason, Adam, Karen and I. Jamin, with Ella bought us down in Grand Forks. They seemed pretty comfortable getting the bid back to us within 10 days, that last Thursday, was it?
They thought they could have something for us in the next couple of weeks, for
Yeah.
a proposal and cost, and they're a gentleman that does a lot of their designs. They feels like with the site that we have, that he has some different things that he can work on, it'd be a different perspective than what we had from Hein McCarthy and from the architect standpoint, with the Sam, that was working on Samuel Street.
The one question though was, I was mulling around, do we have any bids on the groundwork?
No, we have no bids on anything at this time.
That's gonna be extensive.
Well, one of the things that's gonna be extensive with it is at the moment, all the communications run through the existing LEC.
The water line, the sewer.
The water line and sewer running underneath through that, so that'll be one of those things that has to.
Phone lines, alarms, all that, yeah.
So the phone lines and alarms all go to the LEC and then they come into here. So all that stuff's gonna need a new home when we do this new addition, and all that stuff, groundwork is gonna have to be relocated. Moving all those telecommunication lines isn't gonna be a simple,
Think what it
One
costs
day.
to do that LEC when we moved to dispatch.
yeah, I'm not sure how much it costs to move the dispatch stuff, but that stuff is, some of that stuff's still running through the existing LEC. So it might be one of those things where we're gonna end up, instead of moving everything, we may be better off having a new home for that stuff to be based out of, and just starting fresh. And
Absolutely, that's.
that is starting from scratch. Right now, in the courthouse, we have 3 different locations that the phone lines come in and out of. And where, when they come in to do the different updates or put in the panic alarms, it's not a simple thing as to where does this go, where does that go, where is this one located? When they were putting the newest panic alarms last week, it probably took them a day longer than it should have, because they were having to locate different components and figure out where exactly things were. And it's not because the guys that sat here had never worked on the system before. It's just, that's what it comes down to. So there's gonna be a lot of a lot of costs, that aren't in these portions.
In the bid,
But we have no real bids as to anybody doing any any dirt work, any this construction. We have the estimate from a plan, and that's all we have. And it's really not an estimate that until it's finalized, you can really throw a number at it to let people know. We're working towards it, getting something. We're hoping we can come up with something better. And just kind of, we're in that stage, so.
One of Elevados's biggest reservations about this current site is that there is no room for future expansion. So that's something that they're working through, because all of their designs are focused on the ability to have future expansion at some point. This current site does not really allow for that. So they're trying to see what they can do with the design process to see if there's any room for expansion at some point.
They seem pretty excited about it, but yeah.
And they're looking at making sure when they do their expansions that we're looking at not having to add a duplication of staff. So they're already thinking that step ahead of where if you have to do this, you have to add on. We don't want you to have a duplicate staff to do the same thing in a different portion of the building or jail. So that is a good thing from my perspective as well, that they're not just thinking here, they're thinking the long term. And well, they have the same ideas we have with Klein McCarthy and those architects is that basically have one shot to get this right. And we don't want to make it so the future, we have to put somebody else in the same thing that we're at here. You know, it's like, what were they thinking? How come they did this to us?
But they were also involved in, what did you say, $1.2 billion?
Yeah, a federal person.
So I mean, it'll give you an idea of their expertise. So
But it is very nice to work with a company and not, no slight towards Klein McCarthy, but, Elevados has done a lot of jails. They have a division focused on just jails, so there's a lot of expertise there, and they're very excited to work with us and try and drop something that they think can be competitive moving forward, so it was a very productive meeting.
With the projects that they had going on, they were just their jail projects, that right now they're ranging anywhere from $25 million being their smallest to $1.2 billion.
they have a jail division and they have a school or municipal.
Yeah.
Division.
Municipal, schools, government, safety, so they're more into this type of a focus.
Well, I think it was a real positive meeting,
Yes.
and I think, you know, we have to have these meetings like this with just certain people before anything can be out in the public, but just letting the public know that we are having meetings and trying to move forward with things. It's a lot of, you know, things that we have to do beforehand before we can come up with any real hard numbers or anything like that. And we want to be real sure of what they are before we discuss it publicly.
I
So,
agree, there's a lot of work that's being done, I know, the public is probably thinking that we're not doing anything moving forward with this. And the process is probably slower than I would like it to be, but we want to make sure, like Jason said, we want to make sure we're getting this right the first time.
any more questions on the jail meeting? We're not quite sure when the next one will be.
We have nothing planned.
We have nothing planned yet, so I think the next time Amy, I know, would like to attend, so as soon as any of you guys know when it'll be.
I think the next proposed meeting is the financial part of the meeting, with Tanya and the people from Orangery or through
Association of Counties.
yes,
And
but I forget what company he works for.
Oh, more.
More, yes. So there's one upcoming there, but I don't know that there's anything planned with the Samuels group or anybody else at this point until we get that proposal back from.
Okay, well, what I'd like to do going forward is if we find out what those meetings are, that all of us would get, you know, the notification of that meeting. But then like Christie should hopefully be able to go to that financial meeting, and then Amy, if she wants to go next. We're kind of taking turns, so we all kind of know what's going on with it. We don't want to have more than 2 commissioners at the same time. So
Well,
that's how we're proceeding.
I think what works best, I think, is to send notification to you, Karen, and then you can decide who's going to the meetings. I'm not sure who you would like to go, and
Okay,
if I
well,
can just send it to you and you make
okay,
the arrangements with whoever you would like to attend.
okay. But I probably will send that meeting out, just so everybody knows that there is a meeting going on.
That's fine.
Okay. Anything more for Jason? Okay. Thanks, Jason. Thank you.
Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
Okay, we'll move on with unfinished business and added agenda. I think Christie will go next with the gaming.
Oh, the gaming?
Yeah.
Okay, yesterday, Knights of Columbus, presented an application for a raffle that they are going to do on February 29th, 2024 at JR's Bar. And that is why the county has to give them the permit for it. It is the prize, description of prize. There are 3 options. It's a pallet of beer and 2 guns. So I am just looking for a motion to approve this permit so that they can start selling tickets.
I so move.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. And then next time if it comes, I mean, you know that it, to be put up here with the consent agenda.
Is this?
Yeah,
Oh,
usually
okay.
put up with the consent agenda. We don't usually have to discuss
have
it.
the
It's-
money?
We look at it and then go
Okay.
forward.
I won't have to place it on the
Yeah, lots of
agenda.
friends.
Well,
I don't
put
have
it
that many
here with the- Oh, if they put it
Show
all
up
together.
before I send the
Yes,
agenda.
before.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
62 cases.
Okay, if there's no more discussion on the pallets of, and the 2 guns. I'll take the roll. Christie? Yes. Ernie?
Yes.
Danny?
Yeah.
Amy?
Yes.
Myself, yes, motion carried.
But the tickets will sell like wildfire.
They sold last year, they sold over 3 of those at the Legion in Parker.
So that's supposed to be like, what, a year of beer, depending on how much you drink?
Depends how many friends you have.
Yeah.
It's 62 cases. Yeah.
Okay, let's go to unfinished business and other business. And that I'll let Christie talk on, the election and the precincts.
Yeah, okay. So with it being an election year next year, we have to set our precincts before the end of the year. So I am presenting the maps that the Secretary of State presented last year. I believe it was last year when they had to rearrange the districting. Yes. So this is the exact same as it has been at the previous election. And I'm just wondering if that is okay, if I can get a motion to approve the 2 precincts as well as the polling location. In the past, there has only been 1 polling location in Walsh County here at the courthouse. And then the rest is vote by mail. So I would like a motion to include that. We will proceed with that this year as well.
I'll make a motion, we go with what we've been doing.
There's a second.
I'll second.
Any more discussion on the polling precincts election information? Okay, hearing none, I'll take the roll. Danny?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Christie?
Yes.
Ernie?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Motion carried. Is there any other? I have kind of a mess on my paper here. I can't tell what's, I think we've covered everything.
No.
You're in.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're,
Amy has the lead form.
well, So Amy, that weed thing was, I don't think the weed board has been updated, and I'm not sure why you got one and you didn't, Denny.
You didn't?
Unless you misplaced
I
it.
gave her mine and I told her, I'm sure Brent gets it too.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that there was coverage,
Yeah.
I guess is my.
Yeah, why you got one, I'm not sure, and Denny didn't,
Maybe.
but it's just talks about the weed.
About someone being there based on century code, that
Yes.
someone from that.
Danny's gonna, since before he was gonna check with Brent to make sure.
Oh,
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you, Amy. Okay, we'll go Christie and the year end.
Yes, okay, so year end, is quickly approaching, and, in years past, with Dakota, you had to cut the year, before you could proceed with the following year, but that's not the case with Tyler. So typically for Tyler counties, the year end doesn't have to end until even into March. So we will be able to, which is a huge weight off my shoulders. On Sunday, I was visiting with a gal from Stutsman County and huge weight off my shoulders. So we can make sure that all the fund accounts are appropriate or are funded appropriately and whatnot. So that's huge. But the only thing that has to be done before December 31st are all checks have to be written that will be for the year or for 2023. So I am looking for a motion to allow me at my discretion to pay any bills for 2023, the last week of December. So the last day of December is December 29th. So they would not be approved by the commission before they were paid. But there will be some bills that we haven't received yet that we'd like to get on this year's budget. So I'd like the motion.
So we wouldn't see the bills, but we would approve whatever bills come in for you to pay, which
Correct.
is.
That need to be paid for the year.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And then, of course, I would send those out with a packet showing that those were the ones that were approved, for the 2023, the final bill cut. And, talking with Chris, it sounds like that was something that was done in years past. This isn't something new, so.
I will make a motion.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any more discussion?
Chrissy, those would be like a separate attachment for us then.
Correct. Yes, I'll make sure that you guys are aware that those were part of the 2023 calendar year.
Okay, I'll take the roll. Christie?
Yes.
Ernie?
Yes.
Danny?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Myself, yes, motion carried. Oh, yes, you had an update of.
Okay, yeah, so the update on the payroll audit, I have been able to get my data in an Excel spreadsheet, so I've been able to start working on the specifics now. I have been able to break it out on what the employees, where we have discrepancies with the deductions and that. As well as the bills. I've noticed that there's a lot of bills that, former employees are, of course, the county still paying for supplemental policies on former employees. So I, at this time, don't have anything to present to you guys because I want to go back to those companies and show them see if we can backdate those policies to try to recoup some of that money. For example, we have a COBRA policy. And since I started, this former employee is paying through COBRA. She had an employee plus dependent policy. First as a family, then employee dependent, and then now she'll be single. And it has taken NDFIT this long to adjust it to a single plan. So she has been paying for a single policy, but the county has been paying for an employee plus dependent. So I finally had to put a little bit more pressure on NDFIT, because it's like $6,700 that the county has paid that we will get back, obviously, but I don't feel that we should be, and if you're not keeping track or paying attention, that money nobody would have gone back and tried to get that back. So they promised that this final bill in December will have that reflected on it. So those are the things that I'm digging into now for that. And And then, that bank reconciliation piece that I, have been doing, I was working on that over the weekend. And in that, it have the deposits, you clear the checks and the deposits based off of the bank statement. And when we first started, Tyler, when the treasurer's office was receiving money, they were receiving it as a deposit. So we have, say, 300 deposits that have hit Tyler, but that's not what has hit the bank. So in order to clear those, I have to try to figure out which miscellaneous receipts are clumped together on the bank statement to get them cleared. So, I met with that Kenny again yesterday. He met me during his lunch hour. He's, been so good to work with. And I have access to our online banking portal, and I'm going to have to go into each deposit and look at every image for every check and go through the list. So that's what I'm saying. Every time there's just another layer. So it sounds like the treasurer's office, now that we are live in tax-wise and school, they have started receiving in tax-wise. So going forward, it has been resolved going forward, but we have July through October with all of those. So that's just an update. So that's what I'm working on to get that cleared up. I'm ready to, I know how much each fund, should have been, charged, I guess, for all of the, the payroll related bills. So I'm gonna work to get those corrected. Hopefully this week, if not next week I'll have 2 days. So, but knowing that I don't have to have that done by the end of next week is huge. So, I feel like I have, it was a huge relief when I got that all to balance and everything. I sent, Christy a text saying, I cannot believe it, I'm leaving for a game, but I'm flying high today. So, now it's just time to do that. So things are progressing, but I think I have a good handle on it. I've been talking with Kim Drew on, how to proceed with the other, the payroll related stuff. She's busy, end of the year, but we plan on meeting in January, setting up a time in January. And by January, I'll have a better idea of where we sit. But I intend to try to get as much recouped from these companies backdated as I can, so.
Okay, well, thank you for that update, Christy, and thank you, of course, again, for all your work you're putting into it.
Did our Christmas presents get mailed out?
Yes,
Tax
I believe,
statements?
I believe yesterday was the day. Yes, I believe yesterday they were, yes, and I was surprised, we did get quite a few calls that,
Was it a little later this year?
well, we were
I've been
running,
wondering too.
because tax-wise, was live, so they were running into some issues with that. And I still don't have my abstract completed, but we decided to send the tax statements. It won't affect the tax statements, but,
I know I've had people ask me why we get out so late.
sounded like other counties have not sent theirs out either, so we're not the last one.
No, but then there's a lot of other counties that send them out,
Yes.
you know, so I don't, if we can
Yes.
come to a happy medium, I don't know, maybe that's something.
I'm not, yeah, that'll be the treasurer's office
Yeah.
that'll have
Yeah.
to decide on which,
Yeah,
because it sounds like it really picks up. once
Main thing
we
is
do
that the
that.
people that wanna pay their taxes by the end of the year.
right, and a lot of
Yeah,
people,
yeah,
A lot of them do.
well, a lot of people leave too for,
yeah,
Like-
exactly.
I'm leaving, so I didn't get my tax statement and I.
And it went
But-
quicker with us, contracting it out and having that.
Christmas present?
Well, it's for my dad's trust, I wanted to, because that gets paid earlier, but,
So.
yeah, so, okay, well, thank you.
Mhm.
Any more business to be discussed? Okay, hearing none. Meeting adjourned.
You have a Merry Christmas.